Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Playbook. I'm here with my co-host, Alison Bresciani. Alison, how you doing today?
I'm good. Hey, everybody. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. So why don't we get right into it? What question you got for us this week?
So this week, someone asked me in a training, what do I do if I show up at a house with my buyer for a final walkthrough and something is messed up?
Well, obviously, I think you have a couple options here. Obviously, the goal is to facilitate the sale, especially if lender docs are involved. But you need to make sure that you protect your buyer at all costs and you don't rush the transaction being finalized. So typically what you'll see, depending on what was messed up and how severe it is, like is it just the house wasn't in condition for it to be turned over? It's something we need to get a cleaning crew out, something of that nature where you can do something like an escrow holdback. Or is it a more severe damage where it needs to be inspected and possibly, a repair to be done where you want to make sure it's done right and where there's not going to be a certain set amount of money that's going to cover the liability or give the buyer the peace of mind that it's going to be handled. So a couple options are, one is the escrow holdback where, hey, we'll agree to sign, but until X is done, the seller's, a certain amount of their proceeds is being held back until that repair or cleaning or whatever it is taken care of. Or, it's at the buyer's discretion. The final walkthrough's in place for a reason.
Right.
Property has to be turned over in the same condition it was at the last saw it, at time of showing, inspection, whatever it might be. And if anything has been altered or changed, then it's at the buyer's discretion if they want to close or not, and they are protected. Unfortunately, if the buyer's getting financing, it's the lender's documents, which can sometimes get a little sticky if they have rate locks, if they have to redisclose, things of that nature, so it sometimes can cost them more money. But those are the two main options that I would know of. I think the buyer's protected either way. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, I would agree. In certain situations, they might even be able to negotiate a last-minute credit.
Yeah.
But certainly if it's something where they want to hold out for the repair, which often would protect the buyer to a greater degree, then an escrow holdback would make sense.
So just out of curiosity, what was the situation on this one?
Well, this was just theoretical, but I told them about several escrow holdbacks I've had from an extreme hoarder situation where final walkthrough and nothing was removed. There was garbage everywhere and stuff in the garage.
Yeah, those are the common
ones,
right?
Small things like utilities were turned off too early, which is a big one. And so we couldn't verify that everything was in working order. So we did a holdback to make sure once the utilities got turned on that everything was okay. I one time had a mini split that wasn't working. That was a complicated holdback because sellers agreed to have the warranty company come out to repair it, but after a certain date, the money would be released to just replace it. So it was complicated language, but in all sorts of situations, from small things to big things, pool pumps not working, things of that nature. But obviously, if it's like a hurricane situation, you definitely don't want to just do an escrow holdback.
No, you definitely want to get it inspected. And also, too, I know I've ran into a situation with the builder, and those can be a little bit more difficult because they kind of have language within their contracts that a lot of realtors don't read. They kind of keep the buyer's foot to the fire. They can kind of do the repairs post-closing. Right. And then obviously we know how that goes. So I know if you're working with a builder and it's, one of their contracts, it can be a little bit more comprehensive, and I think there's a little bit more language that the builders have to protect them as the seller. And sometimes the buyers don't have the same flexibility they would if it was a traditional sale with the seller on the market.
True that.
So awesome. Well, great seeing you again this week.
You too.
I look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of the Real Estate Playbook.